How are we doing, folks? Still struggling trying to get these carbs balanced, but I think I'm there now. Big trouble with the pilot stuff. Even though I could get brake cleaner or carb cleaner down it in both directions, it was slower in one direction than the other, and I ended up using another carburettor that I've got, an old one. I got a couple of old Concentrics, just to find out what's right inside these Mark 1s. So let's have a look. I'll just show you what I found. So this is an old carburettor which had water in, and it even had that much water in it over winter. Not while I owned it, by the way. That little brass core plug had bursted out, so it was scrap anyway. And also the float bowl had holes in it where water had sat there, and you know, electrolysis, galvanic action. So we know that if we'll start at the float chamber, dependent on whether it's a right or a left-handed carb, then those two go all the way down into the float chamber. So left or right-handed fuel comes up to here from the float chamber. Then when it gets to the head of the carburettor, it goes down this hole here. I'll just use the other one because I've been drawing on it because I can. So it comes up through this hole here, the fuel. It comes down this drilling and it's blanked off there. So it's drilled and then blanked off, drilled. So fuel through down there, through this gallery, and it comes to a turning point here, because this is where the pilot screw adjustment is, and that's drilled in that direction. So we've got fuel coming in this way. And also if you look at the back of the carb, we got this hole here, and that's the air coming in. So air down this one and fuel down this one, and they meet in this area here, and this is where the tapered seat is, where you control the amount of air which is coming in from here in regulation with the amount of fuel which is coming down here. So on the Mark 1s, they put down here a teeny little brass brass pilot jet. If I get the tweezers, I'll be able to show you that. Because it's that small, I even struggle to pick it up. So that's that pilot jet that sits round about there, just there, like that. And the way that it's drilled is like this. If I just show you on this, not a very good cross section, but that's the cross section of it. So it's got quite a large drilling up the back, and then there is your 20 cc's pilot hole. So I must have ended up with debris in here. When I blew that way, it pushed it back and it didn't go round the corner and come out, so I could get flow. But when I blew the other way, it would still come through, but it must have been restricting in this bit here. And no matter what I did, I tried everything, I couldn't clear it. So I used this one as a test. So I drilled out the blanking plug here. It's a blanking plug there that goes all the way through to where the pilot is, and then I got an appropriate sized drift, which would be the same diameter as this screwdriver. You can find my vernier calipers. It's 2.4. You need a 2.4mm punch. So if you drill out, not on that one because that's the one that's going back on the bike because I've cleared that one. So if you drill out the blanking plug opposite the pilot, just when it breaks through, stop drilling, get your 2.4mm punch, obviously with the pilot jet removed, the pilot air screw removed, and you can punch that little jet out. And there it is in its entirety out. So when you've got rid of that, you're obviously going to have to turn up a bit of alley and blank that back off, just plug it back up. Bit of tapered aluminium, drift it in, wedge it in, bit of Loctite around it, job done. So you've now got unrestricted path all the way through here now with no pilot in it anywhere. But on these Mark 1s they're still drilled here and they're still tapped. But what they do is, you can't really see very clearly on that one, maybe on this one, yeah maybe, they actually kind of like crimp it in three places. Doesn't do anything to the hole, but it allows you not to be able to screw a pilot jet in here that they have on the Mark 2s. But it is threaded, but the pilot won't screw in there. So you need to get a 5BA tap, and you re-tap that hole out, and then you can get a Mark 2 Amal pilot jet. And that is the same value as the one that was in there, the brass bush. And I've got my piece of wire brush, single piece of wire, stainless steel wire brush. If I measure that, that is 0.34 of a millimetre thick. And if you look at a 20cc's jet size, which is 20cc's of whatever liquid you're using, in this case it's for petrol, 20cc's of petrol will flow through this pilot jet or the other pilot jet in 1 minute, and the hole size for that is 0.387 of a millimetre. So this 3.4 odd is perfect. So you can check for sure that that is good. And unfortunately I could get my straight, because I have a straight one of these as well, all the way down the pilot hole, and I knew that it was going through there. And that's with my glasses on. I knew that it was going through. Come on baby, there you go. I knew that it was going through there because I measured the depth. But in that bigger relief piece at the back, there must have been something in there that I couldn't get out. So the modification is, you either drill this bush out from the pilot side so you can leave the blanking plug in place, obviously make sure you blow it all out afterwards, clean all the debris out, or you drill the blanking plug out and then you get a 2.4mm punch and you punch the old pilot jet out. Then once it's out, now you can buy your Mark II 20cc's pilot. You can get your 5BA tap, clean those threads out where they've been crimped, and it's obviously so you don't end up realising, because you can't tell. Maybe you could do if you could get and look down there, maybe, I don't know. So you can't put two pilots in. You can't have the pilot bush and this. So that's why them little crimp marks are probably there. But 5BA, in you go. Gentle tighten. Pilot bush in here is now missing, and we're just using that pilot, same as on a Mark II. So I've already done the left hand side. I've done the right hand side now, but I can't put this carb back on because the other thing I found was, if you remember in the beginning when I stripped these carbs, it had a number 3 and it had a number 4 cutaway on the back. We said that number 4s are generally for 2 strokes. So I found some information on the internet somewhere, I haven't found it since, where it said that there should be 3.5s. There should really be 3s. So I already had 1 3, so I've ordered another number 3 slide. So with my new, now remote fitted pilot jets, now instead of having the bushed pilot down here, I've now got my remote one as a Mark II, and my 2 3 cutaway slides I'm hoping should be here Monday or Tuesday. That when I start this thing up, I will be able to fine tune and get those carbs perfect and perfectly balanced. So you can end up with debris in there stuck behind that little brass pilot bush that you cannot get out, even with an airline and the fluid, and you're going to end up drilling it out, knocking it out or whatever. But that is the fix to make it into a Mark II. Tap it out, 5BA, a number 20 or 20 cc's, exactly the same rating as the bush, and we're away. So I'm just hoping that on Tuesday, when my slide, or Monday, I'll drop them in and we'll have a go at balancing them up and getting this thing running sweet, because there's no reason now why it shouldn't, because everything else is absolutely spot on, and I'm sure we're going to get there. So we'll see you on the next video next week when we give this the fine tune with the twin carbs. Catch you on the next one.